As you've been watching Spy Family, you've gotten the opportunity to meet each of the Forger family members, from Loid to Anya to Yor to their dog Bond Forger, but at the heart of this lovable family of four is the mission that Loid is secretly carrying out, which is called Operation Strix, and his goal to establish contact with Donovan Desmond. It's the reason he married Yor and adopted Anya, but as you've probably seen throughout season 1 of the anime, it doesn't look like Loid is getting any closer to making contact with Donovan Desmond, which is why in today's video we're going to answer the question that you've likely wondered. Does Loid ever meet Donovan Desmond, or has Operation Strix become a failure that required the mission to transform into something else other than what it was originally intended to be? So if you watched the anime, you know that's a fair question to ask, because for as lovable and cute as Anya is, she is just as likely to cause some type of an incident or act in a manner that will earn her one of those undesirable bolts that she gets when she acts out, and if she gets way too many of them, then she will get suspended. Well, Loid Forger knows that as much as we do, which is why Loid, after a few events that likely put 10 years on Loid's heart, Loid decided to go undercover at Anya's school in chapter 37 of the manga, and the day that he did so, things quickly revealed themselves as being more than just your normal everyday visit to the school. In the past, we've seen Loid on the rooftop spying at Anya before, but today he's in full-on disguise mode, hiding in plain sight, and realizes there might be SSS agents hiding in the bushes because the security is a lot higher than usual. Being the ever-brilliant spy that he is, Loid realizes that this level of security must mean that there's leadership attending the school, and he recalls previous events where Western agents failed to infiltrate the school, and he quickly began running down a bunch of scenarios that could allow him to infiltrate in a different way. Coming in from the rooftop would cause way too much exposure, and it would be deemed as suspicious. He could sneak in through the front entrance because it's guarded and has a bunch of high technology. No type of listening devices or spy cameras could work. Loid even goes as far as to weigh the pros and cons of just assassinating Desmond, but then he remembers that his mission is to make contact with Desmond in order to gain some type of intel, not outright kill Donovan Desmond. So a frustrated Loid realizes that he can't even pretend to be an associate of Donovan Desmond due to the man's careful nature and how many different ways that all that can go wrong, and Loid realizes his best shot at accomplishing his goal might be very well to approach Donovan Desmond as Loid Forger, which means he's gonna have to rely on Anya to earn a way towards becoming an Imperial Scholar or making friends with Damien Desmond. The problem with this is that Anya's test scores aren't exactly improving. In fact, you can argue they're getting worse, and her relationship with Damien Desmond is still a bit up and down if we're being generous. When Anya realizes that Damien's too scared to wait on his father, Anya does the most Anya thing ever, which almost blows her secret of being able to read minds by revealing Damien's fear to meet his father, but she flips it around saying she knows that Damien failed his test, but if she can tell her father that she scored a 19 on her test, then the least Damien can do is come clean with his own father about scoring a 50, which does lead to Damien waiting on his father, much to Loid's delight. However, as Anya is carried back to the car, we see Loid in disguise with the sheep keychain that Loid had made for that is already on Anya's backpack, but Loid made a replica, and he ditches his disguise at the last moment to establish contact with Damien just before Donovan Desmond arrives. We see Loid do this by pretending to look for his daughter's keychain and apologizing to Damien for Anya punching Damien in the face early in the season, and Loid buys enough time to finally meet Donovan Desmond in the flesh. However, as the two men meet each other face to face, Desmond's bodyguards are really suspicious of Loid right away, and the silent back and forth that you see between Donovan Desmond and Loid Forger goes on. In chapter 38, we're told that Anya's school is the front line of a Cold War, and Loid continues to try to do his best to charm his way beneath Donovan Desmond's defenses by offering his apologies. As Donovan reveals that he's known about Anya punching Damon from the very start, Loid thinks to himself over the importance of finding out what details there are of war that Donovan might be planning. However, a man who Loid thought was going to be super devious and upright just throws Loid completely off guard by shrugging off what happened between their children as nothing more than a children's fight, and when Loid tries to insist on making amends for what his daughter did, Desmond continues to blow him off, and Loid realizes that it's time to back off or else he might blow his cover. But little Damien pushes the situation a little bit further by saying how humiliated he was and can't believe that Anya would even dare hit a Desmond, and Loid takes every opportunity to tell Damien that he has every right to be angry, and that he won't ever have to worry about Anya punching him again. And the smooth-talking Loid tears himself down, painting himself as being a bad father who struggles to control his daughter, which leads to Donovan cryptically saying that people will never truly be sympathetic to each other. And despite Loid knowing that Donovan is really talking about taking control of other countries using military force, Loid uses his job as a psychiatrist to establish a connection. Loid says that it's arrogant to think that people will ever truly understand each other, but it's important to engage in dialogue and meet people in the middle. And Loid tries to tie it back around to Donovan meeting with his son Damien, saying that seeking to understand his son is why he took out the time of his busy schedule to meet him, which stuns Donovan himself. Loid continues to tell bold-faced lies, bringing his daughter Anya into it, saying that she talks about Damien's love for his father at their home all the time, when in reality Loid just sneaked into the school to do his own research on Damien and uses the conversation as a way to paint himself as someone who wasn't initially on board with the country's party platform, but now he has an open mind and hopes to attend one of the party's seminars to learn more, but then humbly tries to back off, knowing that he's already planted the seeds to gain more information. However, Loid realizes now how dangerously close he's come to being in shark-infested waters and backs off for good this time after Donovan states that he's committed his name to memory, clearly intrigued by Loid, and Loid leaves the area with narrowed eyes, considering it a victory as he's established substantial contact. However, Donovan's also glaring daggers at Loid. The one thing that Loid can take out of this scenario is that even though the two fathers are staring back and forth at each other in a suspicious manner, Loid at least now has all the faces of Donovan Desmond's security detail memorized, which gives him another in towards Donovan. What I love about this situation is that we get to see exactly what it is that makes Loid a super spy, because under that situation, any other spy would have made the mistake of pushing forward in the wrong way. Instead, Loid kept changing the situation around to try and find another entry point beneath Donovan's defenses, and once he saw there was no going any further, he just backed away before he crossed the line of Desmond being too interested in Loid, to the point where Donovan Desmond might be suspicious enough to have Loid investigated or detained by the SSS police. Though Loid doesn't get the invitation that he wanted, he's at least given himself a new set of cards to deal with. Knowledge that the relationship between Donovan and Damien is distant, and he knows that he's going to have to try and find another way to bring these two closer together in order to make a plan B, where he uses Anya as a way to get closer to Donovan in order for it to work. Now, I love how Loid stared in the face of his target, a man who Loid himself is not the biggest fan of due to his aggressive military policy, and he still maintained his cool, given that Loid himself had lost both of his parents and his childhood friends due to war. Moments like this make you appreciate how much Loid has grown, how much he's been through as a character, and what it is that he's fighting for with Operation Strix. Unbeneath the Loid, his mission to get closer to the Desmond family is going to get a lot easier because of something that your Forger did, but that's another video for another day. While you wait for that video, click here to watch these other Spy Family videos.